Alright guys, welcome to our preview predictions for WWE Hell in a Cell, which takes place this Sunday, in which we'll be taking a special look at the women's matches, starting out with Bayley versus Dana Brooke. Elle, what's your thoughts on this one?
I'm kind of undecided because I'm really looking forward to the women's Hell in a Cell match, but as the pay-per-view as a whole, I'm not really too invested. I think some of the build-up's been pretty questionable, especially the tag team division, but as far as the women go, I'm really excited for that, and I definitely think we could be in for a huge game changer for the women's division, regardless of who wins and what happens.
I think it's going to be tonight. I think the Hell in a Cell match, the first ever women's Hell in a Cell match, they're bound to have something amazing planned, and that is going to be an absolutely incredible match regardless. So I'm looking forward to that. But first up, we've got Dana Brooke, Bayley. I'm not entirely invested in this one. All the thoughts on that, well, what I hope will be a main event. But starting out with Bayley, Dana, I'm thinking maybe Bayley's going to get the win on this. I can't really see Dana going over. What do you think?
See, I kind of think that it's a given that Bayley will win it. It's not a first main roster pay-per-view, but it's kind of like her first main solo one. So I think giving Bayley the loss, unless they're going to build it up slowly and do it that way, I think it just makes total sense to make Bayley win. Dana's kind of in a sticky situation. Unless Emma's going to return and be evil again, I don't know what they could do.
Emelina.
Yeah, Emelina, which I'm swearing and hoping to God that she's going to debut as this model and stuff and kind of just take the piss and then go, actually, that's all a joke, because last time they tried to repackage me as a dancer, well, that went to shit and I had to go back to NXT, so I'm sticking to my guns. I'm kind of hoping that's where they go with that.
I would prefer that. I kind of like the look that she had on. Did she not only just kind of recently change it before injury?
Yeah, it's not been too long since she's had that evil Emma gimmick, and it totally worked for the main roster and NXT, so why they felt the need to change that then, I have no idea. So I think leave what isn't broken alone.
Yeah, I totally agree on that. They could have just brought her back, either teamed her up with Dana again and had that continue to work, seeing as Charlotte's kind of more out on her own now. And I think she made a point this week of saying that she doesn't need anyone. So she's fine by herself. Dana could have gone with Emma, or they could have even paired the two off against each other, with Emma kind of being out injured and then Dana leaving her to go and team up with Charlotte. So I would have preferred maybe a little feud between the two of them. But I don't know, getting back to Dana and Bayley, sorry. I would have liked to see Dana get the win to kind of build her a little more, because we know Bayley is this dominant force. And like you say, it's kind of a given that Bayley's going to win it.
Yeah.
But I think if you give Dana this first win, it changes things a little. And you think maybe actually Bayley's going to put Dana over and they're going to try and build Dana Brooke up to then take on Charlotte.
Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't mind Dana being built up and things. But at the same time, there's people, I know people are going to go off on one. There's people like Summer Rae, Alicia Fox, even Nia Jax. Now they've kind of they've disappeared. I know there was a match between Alicia Fox and Nia and Superstars, but Nia's totally gone nowhere, and I thought she had a really good build. She's beating the local talent and then Alicia Fox, and then all of a sudden she's just gone, and unless she's going to come into this match later on, I don't know, I kind of feel that that'd be the next step for Bayley. So if having Bayley win instead, she can then go on to face Nia Jax as well, and that'd be kind of her next stepping stone before the title. Whereas Dana, I think if Dana loses, she's still going to come back, and like I say, Emma might come back in the next few weeks, so maybe she'll have some sort of program with her or something.
So would you say Nia's going Nia way? see what I did there?
You're getting really good at, good question.
Oh, thank you.
You're loading these puns up, you're learning very well.
I'm going all Becky Lynch, that's what I'm doing.
Well, you don't want to go all Becky Lynch because according to some things online, certain few producers don't like Becky Lynch's accent, so she's not going to be talking much.
Ooh, maybe they won't like my accent, and then I'll show up and I'll just leave predictions to you, but I'll dye my hair orange in tribute.
Yeah, I think that Halloween is coming up, so why not?
Be nice, I'll mash the pumpkins. So, I don't know, I think I'm probably going to go Bayley on this one, because what you said makes sense. They're probably going to give Bayley the win, and it could end up with Bayley and Sasha in the coming months, and let's face it, I wouldn't mind saying that.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is only the starting point for Bayley, and we're going to... I definitely think neither woman's going to come off with a major loss regardless of who wins, but I think Bailey's the right choice.
Cool. So we're both going Bailey in this first match. Then the main event. Let's hope it is the main event. We've got history being made. Sasha Banks taking on Charlotte inside the Hell in a Cell. It's the first ever women's Hell in a Cell match. How amazing is this going to be? They're all going to go out for it, give her an incredible match. I think we're in for a few surprises. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think we're in for a few surprises. What I will say, though, is I noticed a lot of people straight away totally ignoring the fact that this is going to be our first Hell in a Cell match, complaining about it being Charlotte and Sasha. And the way I look at it, it's not just about Sasha and Charlotte, it's about all those women who came before them to allow them to have this match. Fair enough. The likes of Charlotte, Sasha, Bailey and whatnot have done their own paving of the way, but without all the women before them, this sort of stuff wouldn't happen. So you kind of have to just, even if you're not a fan of those two women, just take it for what it is. It's a hell of an opportunity, and having an opportunity like this surely can only bring massive things for the future.
Well, absolutely. I think regardless, these two are the two that have kind of knocked that door down, and they've now got it to the point that we are getting women's Hell in a Cell matches. This is only the first, but to go anywhere, you have to have a start to begin with.
Exactly.
So this is the start. From here, we're going to get other women competing in these kind of matches in the future. So starting out, we had the first ever Hell in a Cell match, Shawn Michaels and Undertaker, two of the greatest superstars in WWE history. I think Sasha Banks and Charlotte, in years to come, we could look back and say, you know, these were two of the greatest women's wrestlers that we've ever seen. And just like Michaels and Undertaker, they were the first to do Hell in a Cell. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they're doing. I know we did get kind of leaked news a while ago, saying that Charlotte wanted to do some kind of jump off the Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, moonsault. That would have been crazy.
It would have been absolutely insane. Mick Foley made a good point this week on Raw during the contract signing of saying, do you really know what you're getting into? This is a living, breathing structure without a soul, and it eats away at them. Could you see Charlotte maybe doing something?
Well, since she's apparently been told she's not allowed, I don't think we're going to... I know we were talking about this the other day, and you suggested maybe that one of them will climb so far up the ladder and then maybe go for like an elbow drop onto the table. I also think like a crazy spot is going to depend where it comes on the card. I think if it's at the start of the night, there's a chance that we will see some big spot. If it's kind of going towards the end, but not the last match, I kind of think they're going to save that for the final match of the night.
See, it's going to be weird to see which way the position is, because I would normally say the women's match will be somewhere in the middle, because we've got 3, maybe 4 Hell in a Cell matches. Not
4 Hell in a Cell matches, yeah.
So it's a lot to kind of fit in. You're going to have them kind of spread out across the show. We're all kind of saying it looks as though they're maybe leaning towards putting the Universal Championship as the main event. But don't forget, SmackDown, they had their title match first on the show. So maybe they could go with the Universal Championship first and keep the women until last and have the other two kind of bunched in between. So I think if it does go last, I think there'll definitely be something special planned for that. Whereas I think whichever match goes last, I think that's the one that they will keep sort of the main thing for. Because if you have like a huge moment in one of the earlier Hell in a Cell matches, it's then, how are you going to follow that with the other 3?
Yeah. And you can't exactly redo that spot later on in the night because it's still going to be fresh in everyone's mind. So it kind of rules that out. So I don't know. I'm really, really hoping that they do take the ball and allow it to be main event, because regardless of it's only a new title, a universal one, but it's prestigious already because of what it's worth and things. But nothing for me personally, and I'd argue and say any wrestling fan is more prestigious than the first women's Hell in a Cell match, regardless if it was for the title or not. That is a huge thing. So why not have that as the main event?
Well, it is. It's a huge match. And like you say, if you're going to have the first ever main event pay-per-view match, why not do this? There is no bigger match in terms of the women.
Yeah.
I would argue that this is probably the biggest women's match because of the fact it does take place inside Hell in a Cell and it's for the championship.
Definitely. There's definitely no other prestigious matches this on the card, so it kind of makes sense. Although I do think now, because of the news that Mick Foley, he didn't leak it as per se, but he kind of like validated that it was going to be main event. I kind of think we won't see that now.
I'm staying hopeful. Maybe we will. But at the same time, based on what they've done in the past, I would kind of say they're probably going to go with the men, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I just hope for the men's sake as well, because I know there's a lot of people who are enjoying women's wrestling now that weren't before. I just hope it doesn't kill it for the men's match as well, because I know a lot of people do want to see it as the main event, regardless if they are a major fan of women's wrestling or not.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I think whatever happens in the women's match, if it takes place before the men's, they're going to have a really hard time trying to follow it. Because
Yeah.
we've got two talented superstars, but
Oh, there's no doubt about it.
when you think about it, Forbes have just come out and says that Charlotte's the most talented women's athlete in the world. Sasha Banks, I would argue she's the best women's wrestler in the world. So when you've got the two of them colliding inside Hell in a Cell, and they'll be trying out all new things that they're getting to do for the very first time, I think they're really going to go for it. And anyone trying to follow that, regardless of the match type,
Yeah.
is going to be in for a really hard job.
I think the thing is as well, if you look at the past pay-per-views, some of the women's matches lately have been better than the majority of the card. Just look at NXT Brooklyn. You could even argue one of the Sasha and Charlotte matches when Charlotte did the moonsault onto the outside. That for me was match of the night, and I know a lot of people agreed. So it is going to be hard for the men and the women to kind of compete to, I don't know, it's just part of me is really excited, but then I think like when you go back to the Mick Foley stuff, it is kind of scary at the same time.
It is, because when you think some of the risks that Sasha takes, and Charlotte with that moonsault from the top rope, it's like they could really go out and end up hurting themselves in this match. So I'm hoping they keep it safe, but I've got a feeling that they're really going to push themselves, and I just hope they don't push themselves too much, that it does, become some kind of injury scare or anything like that.
I totally agree, and I hope for once coming out of this match that Charlotte gets that recognition she deserves, because you see a lot of praise for Sasha Banks and things. Even like you said, for all Forbes has said that Charlotte is the best of this generation or whatnot. A lot of the fans don't agree, and I really feel that Charlotte doesn't get that recognition she deserves. She's put on a hell of a match. She's had 5-star matches for so long now, and yet she doesn't get that praise and reward that a lot of the less skilled wrestlers do, which really frustrates me. But hopefully a lot of people come out of this respecting Charlotte, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's purely down to the fact that Sasha's a face and Charlotte is a heel. If it was roles reversed, then I think there'd be a lot more people actually behind Charlotte. So I'm going to ask you for your prediction on this, but before I do that, I'm going to throw 2 facts at you. Firstly, I'm going to say Charlotte has won 12 straight pay-per-views, so this could be 13 Halloween, it could be an unlucky number. Meanwhile, Sasha Banks takes place in her hometown of Boston. So
See, that alone adds to the match itself. Like, how much better can you get? It's a hometown crowd versus someone who's won nearly every pay-per-view they've been at. It's crazy.
It's crazy when you look at it that way, isn't it? I think being hometown for Sasha, and that this could be unlucky number 13, because they do keep saying, 12 pay-per-views, that unlucky number, I think it's going to be Sasha's night based on that reason, and it's going to be an unlucky night for Charlotte.
I really don't know. Like, a lot of me thinks that Sasha will win, but there's a really, really gut feeling that Charlotte might pull it off. I know there's going to be a lot of pissed people, but I don't know. Like, I don't know what better way to like really rile everyone up than to have Charlotte win and have her like do something amazing to win to show like how much she does want that title. But like I said, I don't think there's going to be a loser regardless. Both women are going to go down in history regardless if it's a 5-star or a 3-star match. It's going to be there in the books for like all time.
Well, that's the thing. Regardless, it's going to be incredible.
Yeah. It's just trying to decide who could win. I think this is one of the matches in a hell of a long time where, especially for the women, where it could easily go either way. For all, Sasha's only just won it back. Because of the match type and what it is and what it represents, it literally could go anywhere.
So what's your gut tell you?
I don't know, my gut usually talks to me. Some people have pointed out on live streams, but I think I might have to go with Charlotte.
Are you going Charlotte? I'm going to go with Sasha on this one.
I don't know, I just have a sneaky suspicion that she might somehow pull it out of the bag.
Well, if she does, I'm sure it's going to be an incredible ending to the match. Regardless of who wins, I'm just looking forward to seeing it take place because, like we mentioned, history is being made and this is going to be the first of hopefully many. So hopefully it's an amazing one to kick things off.
I definitely can't wait. And like we've said, regardless, it's going to be an amazing match because of everything it means and everything it's been before it to get to this moment. And it kind of feels WrestleMania worthy.
It does. It kind of feels like a bit of a throwaway that this is the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view.
Yeah,
Obviously,
definitely.
it's Hell in a Cell being that pay-per-view, but it's definitely a match that could have taken place at WrestleMania.
Definitely. And I just can't wait to see how it plays out. Hopefully, they let the women run with it and kind of don't restrict them too much and let them have some crazy spots. Nothing too dangerous, but just something that solidifies what it means.
Yeah, absolutely. So there you go. That is our predictions. Make sure to get involved. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Guys, until next time, enjoy the pay-per-view. Catch you later.
Bye.